you guys. Everybody, please welcome to stage Joe Narvaez.
Oh, yeah.
Very much. Thank you. What's up, everybody? You can tell I'm Puerto Rican, right? By my eyebrows.
Here with Joe Narvaez, just finishing up New York's funniest stand-up. You see a little promotion here at Caroline's, one of the premier comedy clubs in the nation, if not the premier comedy club in the nation.
Best.
How does a wrestler end up at Caroline's at a comedy club?
Well, I'll tell you, man, a lot of hard work, man. Just like all the wrestlers out there, when you guys are doing your thing, it's always hard work. What you put into your sport or what you put into what you do in life is always going to be something that's going to keep propelling you to where you want to be in life, to when you set your goals.
Now, how long have you been doing stand-up?
About 10 years.
10 years, and you're in probably one of the most competitive cities in the world when it comes to stand-up comedy. What's it like working in New York City?
I love it, man. You want to be surrounded by some of the best people, some of the best comics every time, every single night. It pushes you to be better. It's similar. Listen, when you go to Iowa, you go to a top-notch school, you want to be surrounded by the best wrestlers, right? So you want those guys to push you, and you're in Ohio State, and I want to keep name dropping because then whoever I don't mention, you guys are gonna get pissed off. But you know what I'm saying. But I'm surrounded by some of the best people in the business, and it makes me do so much better each and every night.
You talked about the competitive nature. What are the tie-ins you've noticed from wrestling that you've got to use here in carving out a stand-up career for yourself?
Well, I think it's just being persistent, never giving up, understanding that you could have a good crowd, you could have a bad crowd, you could have a good match, you could have a bad match. It's a lot of different things that are very, very similar. You're the only one on there, okay? When you wrestle, what do, right? You're the only one on the mat. It's only you. You can't blame anybody else. I said something wrong. I set up something wrong. It's all on me.
Tonight was a little different setup than what you're used to. As you told us beforehand, you've got 15, 30, and 45. His typical comedy set. This was a contest where you had to throw 7 minutes out there. Ironically, it was 7 minutes.
Right.
So, how difficult is it to really set up a 7-minute set?
Well, I think it's tough because when you're doing longer sets, 30 minutes. I did 30 minutes on Friday. I'm doing 45 minutes here. I'm headlining here on Thursday, October 20th. And it's hard to say, okay, I've got all these jokes for 45 minutes. Now I got to condense it to 7. So what do I do? Do I do something that's going to be really good up front? I want to close with something. It takes your brain in different angles, but what you have to do is try to find some type of rhythm within that 7 minutes. And as you could tell here tonight, some guys were up and down. The crowds were tight. People were kind of sitting there cringing. It didn't like some topic. Now that guy can't get out of that hole because it's only 6 or 7 minutes. You don't have that 30-minute time to really, really build.
Talking wrestling, you actually wore a wrestling shirt up here. Let's give Joe a little bit of props here. Southern Maine, you've been on staff there. What's it like to be going back and forth between some wrestling practices, stand-up gigs? Obviously, the comedy game keeps you away from wrestling quite a bit.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you one thing. I live down here. My friend Joe Pistone coaches up there at Southern Maine. He started the program about 8 years ago with Julio Santiago. He's up there as well. And he said, listen, I'm coming up from New York, Joe. You're in Jersey. Just do some recruiting. Send me some good guys. We've been able to turn that program around just by feeding them, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, good, tough wrestlers within the area, just to kind of make things, I don't know, I guess you could say, change, because when he was up there, he had no one. I mean, it was just a 2-3-year-old program with a lot of Maine wrestlers. No disrespect to Maine wrestlers, but what I'm saying was that there was just no competitiveness that we felt could make us a winner. So last couple of years we've had some All-Americans. We had our first All-American a couple of years ago. We've been at the NCAAs the last I'd say 4 or 5 years now, and we're striving again. I mean, we're putting good wrestlers up there. Joe's got a great program, and I'm happy to still be a part of it, because it's one of those things that I want to still give back to the sport, but I can't give all my time. I can't get up there to all the practices. I'll do what I can, but.
But one thing you are doing here locally is you've been a part of some fundraisers. You did one last year with Mike Clayton at Stevens. What other schools have you done fundraisers with, comedy shows?
I did West Effort. They had a program down in South Jersey. They were raising some money for their program. Stevens had one. Centenary was asking me to do one in New Jersey. I mean, I'm for the right price, you fly me anywhere in the country, I'll do something and bring funny guys from New York City. I'll even find ex-wrestlers that were comedians, that are comedians that were tough, either on the mat or off the mat, whatever. We'll come out there, have a good time. It's one of those things where when the crowd relates to that, well, there's a wrestler on stage doing this, it really helps out, and it's been successful.
Obviously, people know about Greg Warren and his wrestling background. Yourself, you know of a couple other wrestlers out there that are stand-up comics.
Yeah, Mike Vecchione, he's works here in New York City with us all down here, and very good guy. He wrestled at Penn State for a couple of years, and it's just one of those situations you just don't see too many. I mean, Greg Warren, Mike Vecchione, myself, I don't know too many other wrestlers out there that are doing it, getting paid, and being successful at it. I mean, I performed in Amsterdam last year overseas and been able to travel all over the country with it as well.
As far as who did you pattern yourself after as a wrestler?
I don't know. I guess it's hard to say because there's so many morphs of who you want to be, especially when you're growing up, or who you idolize, or you're looking at Dan Gable. I want to be like him. I want to be tough, and I want to be relentless with my attack. But then you look at the slickness of John Smith, and you're like, well, but I still want to kind of be very, very slick with what I'm doing. So it's kind of hard to say just really one. It's the same thing with comedy. I don't have one particular comic that I say, oh well, I idolize this person. This is who I want to be. You take a morph of everyone that you like, and that's who it becomes.
Are we on Telemundo right now? Is this ESPN Deportes? My name is Joe Narvaez. Thank you very much.